Good morning and welcome to Mercer County. We are about to start the women's pair Final A. This is the first NSR, one of two, the beginning of the process for selection for the U.S. national team. This morning we have A finals, all A finals, until 8:58, and then we have 4 B finals. But we'll get all the A finals done. First, right off the bat, it's women's pair, then men's pair, women's double, men's double, women's lightweight double, men's lightweight pair, men's lightweight single, women's single, men's single. Those are the A finals, and then in the B finals, we have the women's pair, men's pair, women's double, and men's lightweight single final B. So we are just a couple moments away from the start of the women's pair A final. In lane 1 is the Princeton Training Center, O'Brien. Lane 2, lane 3 is Princeton Training Center, Logan. Lane 4 is Princeton Training Center, Schmetterling. Lane 5 is Princeton Training Center, Simmons. And lane 6 is Princeton Training Center, Musnicki. Lane 1 will be closest to the camera launch once the race gets going. And just because of the nature of the course, we cross for the finish camera, and lane 6 is closest to the finish camera. The camera launch is sitting 250, 300 meters away, so they're zoomed all the way out. So sorry if it's a little shaky. It'll become a little more stable as the crews get closer to the camera launch. It looks like they're just about ready to go. Looking at lane 4, that's Schmetterling, and they're off. Great water this morning, a little bit of a tailwind. The kind of tailwind that actually helps for fast times as opposed to a tailwind that can actually slow you down. But great conditions this morning all the way down the course. Call from the video launch says that lane 3 is out in front. And that would be Logan. Out in front, but not by much. Maybe a deck. But they are certainly moving, aren't they? With every stroke, they just get a little bit more. Wow. If they're able to hold this, they'll be open water at the finish. We'll see how that goes. There, it looks like the other lanes, 4, 5, and 6, Schmetterling, Simmons, and Woznicki have responded a little bit to that. They're not going to let them get away that easy. Looking at lanes 1 and 2, that's O'Brien and Coffey. O'Brien in lane 1, Coffey lane 2. Very fast start for lane 3. But you can see the other crews were not going to let them get away that easily. But they are in a nice control position. They can see what's going on behind them, which makes this all a little bit easier. Woznicki, Simmons, Schmetterling. All of these crews from the training center. Simmons now, the Simmons crew, just eking themselves into second place. We're getting closer to the 1,000-meter mark, but this is clearly the crew to beat. Now open water on the field by between a deck and a half a boat. The Simmons crew now with a canvas. Sorry, that's old school. A deck over their closest competitors. With lane 1 and 2, they appear to be more out of the picture than they actually are just because of the camera boat and where they are. But they are trailing a little bit. So through the 1,000, it is a Logan out in front. And again, great conditions for rowing today, just fantastic. And now it looks like they have almost a boat length on the nearest competitor, which would be the Simmons crew. That one right there. It's a long shot from the top of the finish tower. But there's our lead crew. And then to the far left is our second place crew. Just clear open water for this Logan crew. Easily out in front. Easily is a real misnomer. They're working their asses off. final is underway. Pick them up at about the 1,000-meter mark. So lane 3, which is Miller, out in front, followed by lane 4, which is Wheel. Two is Deathless. Lane 5 is so the Miller crew out in front. But again, no one really falling off the pace here. Everybody looking still in the hunt here. But lane Miller crew is out in front by or that's the women's double is underway. The camera launch is still getting into position, so the image is pretty jumpy. Once they get turned and in line with the crews, the picture should solidify and we should have a good shot all the way down. We are looking at lane 3. That's Tomac from the Oklahoma City Training Center. But in this race, lane 1, which would be closest to the camera launch, is Daniel. Lane 2 is Princeton Training Center, Elmore. Lane 3, Training Center, Oklahoma City, Tomac. Lane 4, Princeton Training Center, Hamrick. Lane 5, Vesper, that's Ritchie. And they're on the far side, along with Vesper, Meyer. And it looks like right now that Tomac is out in front as they get close to the 1,000-meter mark. So Tomac out in front in the yellow boat, followed by lane 2, Elmore. They are through the 1,000-meter mark, but the Tomac crew is out in front with a little bit of open water. Hard to tell exactly with the camera angle. You can see the buoy lines. That's a good indicator. So it's just maybe a little bit of open water. Lane 2, that's the Elmore crew from the Princeton Training Center, and every now and then you get a glimpse of the other crews on the far side. Again, lane 1 is closest to us. So everybody is through the 1,000-meter point at this right now. More open water for these crews. Second place looks to be the Elmore crew, and then I believe that was lane 5, Ritchie. They're in third place on the far side. They are in the last 500 meters now. The Tomac crew out in front in the bright green or yellow, depending on how your eyes see that. On the far side now, remember we've switched sides, so lane 6 is closest to us. Lane 1 is on the far side. So the Elmore crew, which has been in second place, appears to still be in second place. And on the outside of them is the Daniel crew, and they are a composite crew. $250 meters to go. Positions have maintained, they've maintained their positions pretty consistently for the last 500-700 meters. But the Tomac crew out in front, open water, over second place Elmore. The Ritchie crew from Vesper possibly in third place. They're in lane 5 over on this side. All right, next race is past the 500 meter point. That's about as fast as our camera launch can get up there. So we'll be picking them up between the 500 meter point and the 1,000. This is lane 4, and that is Dan from Craftsbury. Lane 5 is Good from Vesper with the distinctive tops. Lane 2 is Keen. Lane 6 on the far side is Holick. And lane 3 from Potomac, I'm just not going to even try. I would just butcher that poor person's name, so I apologize. I'm just going to say Potomac. But clearly out in front is the boat from Craftsbury. Open water over the rest of the field. The rest of the field still relatively tight back there. Anything can happen back there, but this crew is out in front, rowing very nicely. See how much space? Wow. They just keep opening it up even more. Lane 2 and lane 5, Keen and Good, the next two crews, and they're pretty parallel. On the outside there you can see Holick, the Potomac crew, and then lane 1 is another Craftsbury boat, that's Graves. Lane 2 there, that Keen moving up a little bit ahead of the Vesper boat, but not really getting close to this boat, the Dan crew, and they are through the 1,000-meter point with open water on the rest of the field and looking very good. Oh. Still out in front is that Craftsbury boat, looking really nice. They're getting close to the 500-meter mark, a couple hundred meters away, 500 meters to go. Now that Potomac crew moving up, the Vesper crew falling back a little bit. The other Craftsbury boat, and lane 1 and 6 trailing. Lane 5, Vesper falling back a little bit. Lane 2, Keene. They're moving, but they're not going to catch this crew, I don't think. But it is lane 4, Craftsbury out in front, looking sharp. And there we are from the finish tower. It's a long shot. We can give you an idea of what's going on. So on the left-hand side of the screen is the leading crew. And the second from the right is the Keene crew, and they are in second place. You can see Potomac in between them in their red jerseys. They're coming up a little bit, getting back in the fight. Not enough to catch that lead crew, but probably a better placing than it looked like at the 1,000. The multitudes on the shore yelling. For second place, it's going to be a battle. This is great. Lead crew's pretty well established, open water on the field, watching it unfold behind them. But for second, and we are underway with the women's lightweight double. They are past the 500-meter mark. Look at this. All the boats within a deck length. This is awesome. We're a half a boat. So closest to the camera launch is Ayers. Then it starts at lane 2. Lane 3 is Burtco. Lane 4 is Sesher. Lane 5 is Burke. Lane 6 is Roberts. Wow, this is fantastic. You know, when everybody weighs close to the same amount. Oh, something happened here. Didn't see it happen. Have they stopped the race? They did. They stopped the race. Not sure what is going on. So they are coming up on the 1,000-meter point. So now we have, that is lane 3, Daly, who has overtaken the Nace boat on the far side in the white tops with the blue sleeves. But nobody is too far behind. They are still all right there as we move closer to the 1,000-meter mark. Lane 2, you can see their bow, that's Donahue. So 1,000 meters, it is Daly, followed by the Nace boat, and Donahue. If we pull back a little bit, we may see them, their bow peeking in right there. Lane 4, that's Prindez, moving up a little bit. Outside, California Rowing Club falling off a little bit as they start to separate a little bit in the third 500. Conditions, as you can see, still very nice. It is chilly out here. You see the people with caps and whatnot on, long sleeves. It is chilly, but the water is great. A little bit of a tailwind that can actually help you. That's the Donahue boat right there. Lane 1, Harrington boat. So lane 1 and 6 trailing a bit. Then we have this middle pair of Donahue and Nace. But out in front, as we get close to the 500-meter mark, it's Daly out in front. Ready?
Back to you, Willie.
You're live. We got it. Now from the finish tower, the lanes are reversed. So closest to us is lane 6, which would be Getz. On the far side away from us is Harrington, that's lane 1. Lane 3 in the dark top, right in the middle of these boats, that's the Daly crew. Again, all of these people, except for the California crew, train at the Oklahoma City Training Center. They just dedicated a new boathouse down there. One of many. Pretty spectacular complex they have going on down there. So it's Daly out in front. The Nace crew is closer to us. Not quite in the picture yet. The boat you see there is the Perendez boat. There they are. It looks like, oh boy, this is going to be close. Next race is going to be the men's lightweight single Final A. Men's lightweight single Final A is coming up next. Men's lightweight single is underway past the 500-meter mark. Look at another great race. Lane 1, closest to the camera, is from Seattle Rowing Center, is Twist. Lane 2 is Meyer from Cambridge. Lane 3 is Trojan from Long Beach. Lane 4 is Etheridge from Malta. Lane 5 is McAdam from Craftsbury. And lane 6 is O'Leary from Megan Cook. And out front is Trojan. With about a half a boat over O'Leary on the far side in lane 6. But you can see everybody is right in there. Lane 1 there, that's Twist from Seattle Rowing Center. Lane 2, Meyer. 4 is McEtheridge. Etheridge. On the outside, O'Leary moving up a little bit on our leader, Trojan, at about the 750 meter mark. But he's bringing the other two with him, as you can see. Trojan makes a little bit of a move to push them back to create a little more distance. Second through fourth. Less than half a deck length between those crews. But Trojan, putting on a move here, has open water. Looking very nice out in front. Watching the race behind him. Wow. He's got a deck of open water, moving to a half a boat. Etheridge from Malta now, clearly in second. But everybody else still right there. Twist, Meyer. I think O'Leary is falling back now. He made a big push, but he just couldn't keep with the speed, so he's falling back. As they come through the 1,000 meter mark, it's Trojan out in front with open water on the field. And we'll pan back here in a second and see how much open water he has. Maintaining about that same distance between him and Etheridge. Now lane 5, McAdam falling back a little bit. So starting to spread out a little bit. The third 500. Tough 500. With Trojan out in front. Etheridge maintaining that same distance. But now people starting to fall back. Mr. Twist falling back a little bit. Mr. Larry falling back a little bit. Meyer falling back a little bit. As we get close to the 500 meter mark, it looks like he's putting more distance between himself and his competitors. Okay, the lanes from the top of the finish tower, they're reversed. Lane 6 is closest to us, that's O'Leary. Twist from Seattle Rowing Center is on the far side. It's lane 3 in the middle of the shot in the white top, out in front by open water. Second place looks like the boats on either side of him right now, which is Meyer and Etheridge. It's like Etheridge has a little bit over Meyer, a little tough from this angle, but Trojan clearly out in front. Men's lightweight single in the last 150 meters of the race. Trojan out in front, second place. Great race between Meyer and Etheridge. Fourth place right now looks to be McAdams from Craftsbury, and then O'Leary and Twist 5 and 6. And as they come to the line, it is Trojan. Women's single is underway. Lane 1 from Riverside, Olnich. Lane 2 from GMS Roaming, Copenhagen. Lane 3 from the Princeton Training Center, Pierce. Lane 4 from Vesper, McFetridge. Lane 5 from Potomac, Schmeg. Lane 6 from Potomac, McGovern. And it looks like lane 3 and 4, Pierce and McFetridge out in front on the far side. You can see that's lane 5 from Potomac, Schmeg. But lanes 3 and 4 out in front, and 3 now. Pierce from the training center here in Princeton is out in front. Half to 3/4 of a boat length. Look at that bow on the far side from Potomac Schmeg. Lane 2 on the inside here from GMS Rowing, Copenhagen. Lane 1 from Riverside in the distinctive blue and white striped top is Olnich. Lane 2, Copenhagen right there. All right, this race for the lead is tightening up a little bit. Ms. Pierce had an early lead and seemed to be moving away, but McFetridge from Vesper is crawling back, and she is bringing Schmeg from Potomac with her. Now overtaking in the second 500, we're about 750 in, and McFetridge from Vesper is overtaking Pierce. And again, on the far side, Schmeg from Potomac is going right with McFetridge. So now you have those 3 lead boats within a half a boat of each other. Pierce putting on a little push here. As you get close to the 1,000-meter mark, putting on a little push. And wow, look at her go. Back out to a half a boat length lead. 1,000-meter mark, it is Pierce out in front. Look, oh, lane 2 on the inside from GMS Rowing, Copenhagen. Now she has overtaken Schmeg quite easily, and now is coming up on McFetridge. Oh, this is turning out to be a great race this morning. Pierce still out in front, but on either side of her, evenly distributed, is lane 2 and lane 4. McFetridge and Copenhagen. Look at this. Oh, this is fantastic. See the bow of Schmeg on the outside there. She's fallen back. She hasn't gone away, but she's fallen back a bit. So trailing is Potomac, McGovern, and Riverside, Olnich. Another push by McFetridge. So about 750 meters to go, or 1,250 in. It is McFetridge making a push. And again, bringing Schmeg with her. We don't see Miss Copenhaver right now, so we don't know where she is. But it is McFetridge putting on a strong push here. There's the bow of Ms. Copenhaver.
We're turning here, Willie. Lane 1 is so far back. She's having a tough time.
From the finish tower, it's a long shot out there as the race got tense. We have to turn the camera launch back now. So we'll do our best to see what's going on. Where we left it, it was Pierce, McFetridge, and then Copenhaver, and it was tightening up amongst those three. And looking out there, you can see, it's hard to tell, but the three of them are very, very close. I would still give it to Pierce by 1/2 to 3/4 of a boat length. But McFetridge is right there. Oh, this is going to be a great battle between Pierce and McFetridge. And it is McFetridge out in front now. Pierce has fallen back. Copenhaver moving up too. She's getting very close to Pierce. I don't know if she's going to catch her before the line. I think she has. I think Pierce has fallen back into 3rd place. First is McFetridge, and she's got a boat length now on the field. Copenhaver looks like she's in 2nd, with Pierce in 3rd, Schmeg in 4th, McGovern in 5th, and Olnich in 6th place. All right, the men's single is underway. This is the last of the A finals, and we go to B finals. Lane 1, closest to the camera, is Stewart. Lane 2 is Harper. Lane 3 is Cowles from Craftsbury. Lane 4 is Frid from Craftsbury. Lane 5 is Scopin from Seattle. And lane 6 is Reed from Craftsbury. Lanes 2 and 3, Harper, unaffiliated, and Cowles are out in front, but look on the far side, that's lane 5 from Seattle Rowing Center, that's Scopin, and lane 4, bow right in there, Frid from Craftsbury. And there you can see Reed on the outside, and trailing here in lane 1 is Stewart, unaffiliated. Panning back up through the crowd. Out in front, if we can get a steady shot here, is Cowles from Craftsbury. You see people still wearing vests and whatnot. The wind is very, very chilly here. Conditions are still decent for rowing, but the wind is cold. Coming up to the 1,000-meter mark, lane 3, Cowles, followed by Harper, and then Frid on the far side. All right, we are going to pick this race up with the finish line camera. Having a little technical difficulty with the camera launch, but apparently they're fired back up and going. Lane 1 falling off the pace pretty significantly is Stewart. So we are going to pick this up from the finish tower. Again, from the finish tower, the lanes are reversed. So lane 1 is furthest away from us. Lane 6 is closest to us. Even from this distance, we can see that Mr. Cowles is out in front. He's sandwiched by Harper and Frid. Right in the over to the right-hand side in the red top is Cowles. Harper is to his right. Frid is to his left. Scopin is in the blue to the far left. And then over in lane 1 is Stewart. But it is Cowles out in front. Lots of open water between him and his nearest competitor. And hard to say right now between Harper and Frid who's in second place. We'll just have to see as they get closer. But Cowles out in front, continuing to open up more and more open water on the rest of the field. B final, B final, B final. That's what happens when your brain freezes. B final for the women's pair, and you can see the different clothing choices here. I think I go with the crew closest to me, which is lane. There are 4 boats in this race. Lane 2 is NSR from the Princeton Training Center. Martelli is lane 3 from the Princeton Training Center. Hendershot, lane 4, unaffiliated, and Polk, lane 5. Lane 5 on the outside. And they are a half a boat down. On the Martelli crew. Lane 3. Is that right, or are these the Sarahs? Is that lane 3? Lane 3 ahead? Yeah, yeah.
Lane 3 is ahead by 3/4 of a length. Starting to move with open water.
So lane 3, this is the Martelli crew, is out in front, a little bit of open water at the 1,000-meter mark and moving away. On the outside, that's the Polk crew. Lane 5, lane 4, Hendershot, and they're about tied up with NSR. Lane 5 there, that's the Polk crew. But open water out in front is Martelli. They're in the third 500. Moving very nicely and moving away from all their competitors.
Is it single or double?
Out in front is Martelli, and we are going to go to the finish line shot from the top of the finish tower. So lane 5 is closest to us, that's the Polk crew. Hendershot lane 4, Martelli lane 3, and on the far side, furthest away from the camera, is NSR. But it is lane 3 Martelli out in front. 4-boat race, as is the next one. We have the men's pair, the women's double, and the men's lightweight single are the rest of the B finals. And for those of you who have been waiting for the women's lightweight double, that race will run at 9:30. At 9:30, the women's lightweight double. I had some equipment issues early on. That race is going to be run at 9:30. But right now, it's the B final of the women's pair. With lane 3 over on the second to the right, out in front by open water. But Pliny loves being a cop.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah, she loves it. She says it's crazy.
How so?
She says the freedom is unbelievable.
Like, oh, what?
Here's your car. We'll
Oh.
see you in 12 hours.
Oh, God.
Hand out a ticket if you want. You don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to do shit. You have to respond to calls.
Yeah.
You have to be a presence in the community. But you know, 5:30, 12-hour shifts, and if you from 5:30 to 7:30, like if you just want to go hide behind the bushes and sort of scare people as they come around the corner, you know,
Do that?
you can do that. Which
Oh, my God.
it's She works 5 days.
Interesting.
Coming to the finish, it is Martelli out in front. It's tightened up a little bit. We'll go to the finish camera right now.
What about the 750 rate?
Men's pair B final, lane 2, closest to the camera from California is Jones. Princeton Training Center, James. Unaffiliated in lane 4, DeSanto. Lane 5 is Princeton Training Center, Johnson. 4 boats. Looking at California right there, Jones. They and DeSanto, unaffiliated, falling a little bit off the pace. As lane 3, James from the Princeton Training Center out in front, and you can see the bow number 5 on the far side. Johnson right there with them, about a half a boat back. So they are through the 1,000-meter mark right about now. California. Bit of open water off the leaders. DeSanto, about a boat length back. Lane 5 over there. Johnson sitting, moving up a little bit on the Princeton Training Center boat here. James right there, so about a half a boat back, depending on whose blade's in the water. Now you can see putting on a little bit of a push into the third 500 and making a move. We'll see if that boat, the Johnson boat, has a response to it. California, DeSanto moving back up here. This is tightening up a little bit for third through fourth. Lanes 2 and 4 are moving up. This is turning into an exciting race here. All right, the camera launch unfortunately has to leave as we go to the finish tower, and we'll see how this plays out in the last 500, or actually about 600 meters. Still out in front, it's James, but look, second through fourth tightening up. The unaffiliated boat DeSanto now looking, they are in second place, but not by much, and they're starting to put on a move. This is going to be really exciting at the finish. We're going to go to the finish camera. Women's double, final B, a 6-boat race. GMS CRC Composite, lane 1, closest to the camera. Princeton Training Center, Tolson, lane 2. Princeton Training Center, Getzinger, in lane 3. Riverside, Macon, lane 4. Sunshine Craftsbury, lane 5. And Brugman Princeton Training Center in lane 6. So out in front, it's Gotzinger, in the Princeton Training Center boat, out in front, but look right behind. You have 3 boats right there, right across, and lane 1, Holmes, right there. Second place is between those 4 boats. Sorry, fourth place. First place right there, lane 3, out in front, open water. Getting close to the 1,000-meter mark. Open water back to lane 2, which is Tolson. And then, third place is this battle between these 4 boats. Lane 1, the Holmes boat, GMS. And there's Riverside Macon, Sunshine from Craftsbury, Brugman, the Princeton Training Center boat, on the outside. Lane 2 is in second place, Tolson. And then out in front, open water, is Gotzinger. So they are just barely into the third 500 now. In the B final of the women's double. Now third through 6th place is starting to string out a little bit. A little bit of separation there. Lane 1, you can see there, the composite boat, GMS CRC, the Holmes boat. From the finish tower, we'll bring these guys in. So the third boat from the right is the leader, Gotzinger. Next boat over to the right is Tolson, second place boat. But you can see lane 1, Holmes on the outside there. Looks like they're moving up a little bit. But still in third. And then 4, 5, 6 are starting to spread out a little bit. Craftsbury. Craftsbury's 4th place maybe? Actually, lane 6, Brugman, the training center boat, looks like they are moving up. Hard to see over on the far there. They are on the far left. But out in front is Gotzinger, and they are way out in front now. Open water on the rest of the field. Tolson, second place, with maybe the Brugman boat on the outside, on the far left. Maybe they're in third place now, moving up. As lane 1 has fallen way off the pace now. Lane 4 also Riverside falling off the pace a bit. But this Brugman boat in lane 6, they seem to be moving up. Certainly not enough to catch our leaders, and probably not enough to catch second place. But they certainly pulled away from the rest of the field. And as they come to the
Good.
he thinks he's all right, men's lightweight single, final B, lane 1, McGee from Riverside, and that is closest to the camera side. Lane 2 is Henson from Craftsbury. Lane 3 is Georgeson from Riverside. Lane 4 is Schmidt from Riverside. Grisdella from Craftsbury and Young from SoCal Scullers in lane 6. So we are looking at lane 4, Schmidt from Riverside. And that is Georgeson. Then on the outside is the SoCal Sculler boat, and in the green and white is Grisdella from Craftsbury, and Riverside McGee closest to the camera, and Henson Craftsbury in lane 2. Those two are trailing. There's second through fourth right there. And then out in front is Schmidt from Riverside. And he has about a boat length on third place, which is Georgeson in lane 3, who has a little bit of open water on Grisdella from Craftsbury. And back to our leader, Schmidt rowing very nice as he gets close to the 1,000-meter mark. So now through the 1,000-meter mark, it's Schmidt out front. Second place, his teammate, Georgeson. On the far side out there from SoCal Scullers is Young, and then Grisdella, Henson, and there's McGee. From the top of the finish tower, we have little dots out there, the single scullers. The camera boat is peeled off to go pick up the women's lightweight double A final. That's the next and last race of the day. So B final, men's lightweight single. From the top of the tower, the field is reversed. Lane 6 is closest to us, that's Young. And on the far side, furthest away from the camera, is McGee. Schmidt out in front, followed by Georgeson in lane 3. And those two are leading the field, it appears now, by open water. With Schmidt out front, followed by Georgeson. And then we have some boats right across. Hard to tell. 3rd through 6 looks relatively close. Young has gotten back up into the crowd. He's in lane 1, way on the far side. One and two, first and second place, both from Riverside. Schmidt and Georgeson out front by a lot. But then it's a relatively tight field behind them. Grisdella second from the left. Or just out of the frame right now, but that's fine. As we watch our two leaders, Schmidt right in the middle of the frame, and then Georgeson off to the right a little bit and above. The two of them open water ahead of everybody else. As we get close to the line, it looks like it's going to be Schmidt by about a boat length. All right, back to the race that was stopped earlier in the morning. This is the women's, this is the A final, not the B final as it says up there. This is the A final of the women's lightweight double. All right, this is a great race. Again, lane 2 is Ayers from Riverside. Lane 3 is Bertco from California Rowing. Lane 4 is Sesher from Vesper. Lane 5 is Burke from GS Rowing, and Lane 6 is Roberts from Riverside. And we have a great race going on so far. You see the Vesper boat and the California Rowing Club boat. They are just going stroke for stroke. Give it right now a little bit to Vesper, just a tad. Look at that. You can see they are just going back and forth and back and forth. Now it looks like the Sesher boat from Vesper going out just a little bit, maybe a seat or two on the California boat. They're still in the second 500. About 100, 200 meters away from the 1,000-meter mark. So lane 4, that's Vesper, that's Sesher, out in front by a couple more seats, but still not a deck, just a couple seats. At the 1,000, we'll pan back and we'll see where everybody else is. Well, we're going to do it right now. Look at this. The other 3 boats within a deck length of each other. This is Riverside right in front of us, Ayers, and then GMS Rowing and the other Riverside boat neck and neck. So about a half a boat ahead is the Vesper. Through the 1,000-meter mark, it is Vesper out in front by a half a boat. We'll see if the California Rowing Club Burtco boat has a response to that. Because now they are into the third 500. This Vesper boat seems to be pushing back the California Rowing Club boat. It seems the Burtco boat does not have a response for that move by Vesper. It's a Riverside Ayers boat. And then on the far side, it's the GMS pulling away a little bit from the Riverside boat that was next to them, the Roberts boat. But back in the front, it is Vesper out in front by 3/4 of a boat length, as they are about 100, 150 meters away from the 500 meter to go mark. This shot would indicate that they're out there by themselves, but every now and then you see that bow of the California Rowing Club boat just poke right in there. The rest of the field sort of spread out now. Lead 2 boats within a 3/4 of a boat length. Let's have a look now. The Vesper boat taking it out a little bit more. It's about a boat length now. The camera launch is trailing a little bit, so the angle's not quite right. They're behind, so the Vesper boat actually probably has a little bit of open water, maybe bow on stern, maybe a little bit of open water at this point. So when we see the buoys go from yellow to red, it's the last 250 meters. That'll be happening pretty quick here. Vesper maintaining a boat length. There they go, last 250 meters, rates are coming up. But it is Vesper out in front by a boat length over the California Rowing Club boat. So we go to the finish tower. Coming to the line from the finish tower, the lanes are reversed. But out in front Lane 4 is Vesper.